Hello, this is the Tradesight US Stocks, Futures, and Forex Market Preview for the week beginning Sunday, August 8th, 2021, ending Friday the 13th. Yeah, that's right, Friday the 13th. Hope you had a good trading week, but it really was still abysmal. We'll talk about that in a minute. Here's a look at the dollar index daily chart. Flat most of the week, then curled up on Friday after the non-farm payroll numbers came in better than expected. Let's go through the major Forex pairs. Euro dollar, as usual, the inverse of the dollar index, headed down on Friday. Pound dollar, not much here, very flat for the week. Aussie dollar, not much there either. Euro yen, not much there. Same story across the board. Forex, this is why we go to half size in the summer, especially August for Forex. That's the international month off, right? So it's been really bad. And we had 2 days this week. We were less than half size because we had, in addition to being half size for the summer doldrums, we had some key economic data. We'd like to go even smaller size against that. So it was, not much of a week in Forex. In terms of the intraday action in Forex, let's take a look here. 30-minute candles. So here's the euro dollar. High to low for the week is about 160 pips. But keep in mind, like if you don't include Friday, it was 80 pips all week until Friday. So Friday was really the only move. And then the pound dollar here, high to low for the week is only not even 100 pips for the whole week on the pound dollar. That might be a record low for the year, so we don't need to look at anything else. Forex is still just unexciting, obviously, at this point. In terms of the U.S. stock market side, here's the ES futures. This is the broad market in futures form, the proper way to look at the market and the daily chart. We did finally close just a little higher, but we've been going on like, I think 12 days now or whatever in this narrow range. It's just been absolutely horrible. Tiny candles. We talked about this prior. Just nothing here at all. Untradeable in my opinion. And that was, by the way, matching off mostly with the core 8 days of earnings. So just keep that in mind when we talk about the importance of that. That ended this Thursday. So, what does that mean now that that's done? Can we shake free? Remember, there's no holidays now until September, when we have Labor Day on September 6th. So we've got 4 full weeks, although the fourth Friday would be leading into that long weekend. And we've got just a regular options expiration in August on the 20th. So, we're open to trade. Let's just see if we get the action that often we do in August. By the way, on average, August is one of the most positive months of the year, just so you know, in terms of the market being up. September is the most negative month of the year. There's more Septembers. September is the only month that averages a negative return in the stock market over the last 100 years. Think about that. All right. So crude oil down $1.19 to 67.90. Gold got clocked down 44.60. Look at that move. After the non-farm payroll data came in good. S&P cash gains 7.42 points. Nasdaq 100 down 72.28. There is a 13 sell signal on the daily of the Nasdaq 100, so let's just be aware of that. By the way, okay, let's keep going here. For SOX, down 12 after making new highs. It's kind of failing already. The biotech's down 81. This thing had a nice cup. If it made a handle and breaks out, that could be exciting, but we'll see what happens. The Russell 2000 up 11.75. This thing has just been dead flat since January. The VIX back down to 16.15, down $1.13 on the session. Back into the mid-teens. This is almost as low as it's gotten all year. So that doesn't help with the volatility, which we need, obviously. Trend closes at 0.86, puts the 10-day at 1.10. So there's that. There are a few big numbers that'll be dropping off this week. We'll see how fast that average can move down. Nasdaq volume, only 4.1 billion shares on the session. And it was a pretty light week compared to what we've seen traditionally over the last few months, obviously. Advanced decline ratio on the Nasdaq, positive 175, so slightly more stocks up than down. The advanced decline ratio on the New York was positive 608, so a little bit better. Google loses 10.26. Doesn't even look like anything on Google, does it? Apple down 70 cents, also doesn't look like much. Netflix down $4.34, okay. Amazon down 31.05. Tesla down 15.53. But again, not much here. It ran right into that green static trend line, though. That was sure a wall, wasn't it? Facebook up 54 cents, no big deal. Zoom down 50. Been a wild week on Zoom, actually, one of the few. Had a big move up on Wednesday, stalled out Thursday, and a big move down on Friday. Goldman Sachs gains 13.59 on a gap up on earnings. TLT, the 20-year bond ETF, down $2.51. Dow Jones up 144. Bitcoin back up. It's at 42,755 right now, so breaking back out. Note that 13 buy signal was right on the money on the Bitcoin daily chart, obviously. I did want to show you Lulu, something that we were looking at shorting here. Had a 13 seeker sell signal, and there's a lot of room down to that red static trend line, which is at 320. Don't need to get all the way down there to make good money, so that's just something we did today. All right, in terms of the intra-day action, let's go to 10-minute candles on the ES, and you'll see that, you know, most of the week was, and I'll broaden this out in a minute, but if you look at Monday where we gapped up, filled the gap. Tuesday we kind of gapped up small, filled, went lower. That was the low of the week. Bounced back up. By the close on Tuesday, we were right where we started Monday. Small gap down Wednesday, dead flat day, couldn't even fill the gap. Thursday we gap up a little, reach up and almost fill the gap from the prior day, dead flat into the last few minutes. And then Friday the small gap up, and again just dead flat. Almost the entire day spent inside that opening 5-minute candle on the ES. And if I take this out to, I think 15s will do it. Let me see. Except for this day, we finally got above it all. We have been in this horrible range I keep talking about now for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It was 10 days straight plus this, now this 11th day, which was boring. It was just above it. So it's been a really horrible trading environment. But core earnings are behind us, and let's see if things will pick up with that out of the way. Let's go through our economic data that's due out this week. Bank holiday in Japan to start the week. CPI and PPI out of China. China's got their M2 money supply and new loans. The unemployment rate out of Switzerland. German trade balance. Centix investor confidence. JOLTS job openings here in the U.S. Retail sales monitor out of the UK. Bank lending and current account out of Japan. NAB business confidence out of Australia. Going into Tuesday already. Japan's got their economy watcher sentiment. Europe's got their zoo economic sentiment. The German zoo economic sentiment also comes out here in the U.S. at 6 a.m. NFIB Small Business Index, 10-year bond auction in the U.K., preliminary non-farm productivity and preliminary labor costs here in the U.S., mortgage delinquencies at some point in time. Then we go to Tuesday evening already. MT money stock out of Japan, Westpac consumer sentiment out of Australia, 30-year bond auction out of Japan. Europe's got on Wednesday now German final CPI. Japan has their preliminary machine tool orders. German 10-year bond auction. CPI here in the U.S., so we'll be half size ahead of that. That's one of our big three each month for Forex, and we'll be less than half size because we're already half size for summer. Crude oil inventories at 10:30 a.m. We've got the 10-year bond auction out of the U.S. at 1 p.m. Federal budget balance at 2. Going into the evening, New Zealand FPI at 6:45. RICS house price balance out of the UK. PPI out of Japan. MI inflation expectations out of Australia, inflation expectations out of New Zealand. 2 in the morning Eastern time on Thursday, preliminary GDP, goods trade balance, index of services, industrial production, manufacturing production, all out of the UK. Then the Italian trade balance, industrial production out of Europe, PPI out of the US at 8:30, and along with our weekly initial and continuing jobless claims numbers, natty gas at 10:30, 30-year bond auction at 1, business NZ manufacturer index, visitor arrivals out of New Zealand, German WPI, Swiss PPI, French final CPI, trade balance out of Europe, import-export prices here in the US, and then preliminary University of Michigan sentiment at 10 a.m. on Friday. So the only real big thing from the Forex perspective is the CPI number, and just keep in mind that the forecast is for 0.5% annualized coming out of this month's number. That CPI is a little more important right now than it usually would be to the stock market just because of the inflationary concerns. So we will be looking at that number. But other than that, it's kind of a straightforward week with not a lot of key big data. So hopefully it's a trading week, and with earnings behind us, that would be exciting, wouldn't it? See what we get. Charts as usual brought to you by eSignal. If you've not yet taken a trial of our services, feel free to do so. We will help you out for a couple weeks. Have a great trading week.